back, welcome to my channel, and in today's video it's going to be my January wrap up. We're going to go through the 11 books I read in January. We're also going to go through my February TBR and my spreads in my reading journal for January. So let's go. So the first book I actually read in January was Heat of the Everflame by Penn Cole. I don't physically own this book out because they are currently getting traditionally published, so I have the first two just behind me here, but the third book isn't traditionally published just yet. But I gave this book 5 stars. The first book for me was like a 3.75, the second book was a 5, the third book was a 5. They are so good. Like, the plot twists I did not see coming, and I was just like, oh my god, I'm obsessed. Don't really want to say too much, but we follow Dime, who's a healer and has no powers, and then we learn more about her backstory and everything because her mother goes missing, and we go from there through books 1, 2 and 3, and honestly the difference between book 1 and now is absolutely crazy, and I need book 4 ASAP. The next book I read after that, I was like, oh, I need a break. So I read A Photo Finish by Elsie Silver. This is the second book in the Gold Rush Ranch series. I've now read the first 3. I have 1 left, but this book follows Violet and Cole. If you've read the Chestnut Spring series, yes, it's Violet Eaton, as in the Eaton brothers' sister. And it was really nice, honestly, getting her story after seeing her obviously pop in slightly in Chestnut Springs, and obviously having her mentioned, and I did really enjoy this one. I think this is probably my favourite of the ones I've read, which is really nice. But yeah, also I love the covers of these books. I also do like the old indie ones, but I just think these are so cute. Anyway, not the point. And then after that, I also went into another romance, which was Starstruck by Holly Duke. So this is a indie romance which follows our characters Goldie and Tristan. Tristan wants to be a music artist. They first meet or lock eyes at a concert that Goldie goes to with her friends before they start essentially college. They go to uni. They go to uni. It's called Liberty Grove University. It takes place in New York City, and it was so good. I absolutely enjoyed it. I honestly was like, oh my god, it's like probably like 300 pages. Did not expect it to be 500 pages, but I loved every second of it. And it's like a fake dating story, and I really enjoyed it. And then the next book I read is The Dagger and the Flame by Catherine Doyle. Oh my god, it feels like I read this book absolutely ages ago, but in reality it really wasn't that long ago. This was so good. I gave this book 5 stars. It follows Seraphim and Ransom, and she's a cloak and he's a dagger, which is basically a thief and an assassin, and they're on opposite sides, and his mark is to kill her. And it's just the tension, the enemies to lovers, everything, the plot, the storyline, everything that happens is so good. And honestly, I need book 2 ASAP. This is not my first Catherine Doyle book. I did originally read the Twin Crowns trilogy by Catherine Doyle and Catherine Webber, and obviously saw that Catherine Doyle had come up with this one, and I was so excited after I read the synopsis. And I do have, this is one of the Waterstones special editions. I think there was 2, but this is the one that says Become the Flame, and I do like the sprayed edge. I think I would prefer it though if the sprayed edge was the whole way around, because it's just a bit odd, but I don't mind. I really enjoyed this one, and it was a 5-star read, and it was technically, in my mind, I count it as like my first 5-star read of 2025, because Heat of the Everflame, I read the majority of that 1,000-page book I read the majority in 2024 and just finished it off, and I kind of already knew it was going to be a 5-star because book 2 was a 5-star. So this is was my first official 5-star of 2025. And then I reread Addicted to You by Kristen Becker-Ritchie. This is my 3rd reread of the series. I think one of my goals is to read at least one of the books in the series each month. So we started off with Addicted to You, which is the first book in the Addicted Calloway's series, or the Addicted series if you just wanted to read them. This follows Lily and Lo. She's a sex addict and he's addicted to booze, but I love them, and nothing in my heart will ever change for these characters. I love them so much, and I don't even have words. Then I read The Ashes and the Stalkers King by Carissa Broadbent. This was a 3-star read for me, which obviously 3-star isn't a bad rating or anything. This is probably on the lower end of a 3-star for me. This is because I did really enjoy The Serpent and the Wings of Night. I think I gave it like a 4.5. I was really excited to go into the next one. I decided to wait until the paperback came out because I had the paperback in The Serpent and the Wings of Night. I could have read it on Kindle Unlimited all this time, and I waited, and I was disappointed. It's not the book's fault, because in the sense of like, if you really enjoy the characters in the book, you're gonna love this. But however, I don't really enjoy the characters. They weren't my favourite in book 1. I didn't connect to them in book 1. So obviously going into book 2, there wasn't much for me to go off. And also in book 1, I really enjoyed the trial aspect. In that book, I'm a sucker for a trial. Obviously this one's not a trial, didn't really know what to expect going into it, and it did fall flat for me. I am going to read her next book in this series, which is The Songbird and the Heart of Stone, but depending on how my feelings are with that one, kind of is going to depend whether I'm going to continue with the Crown of Nyaxia series or I'm not going to in the future. But overall, I enjoyed it. Would I recommend the series? Yes. Would I personally reread them? Probably not. But then we're on my favourite read of the year, which is Heavenly Bonnies by Amani. Oh my god, this book was so good. Like, honestly, like, I went into it I was like, I'm probably gonna enjoy it, because it's literally like got like stars and astrology and all that in it, and it literally, like, on the back, the reason I picked this book up in the store is because on the back the quote says, "I would turn the world to darkness for you," and that sold me on buying the book. And honestly, I'm so happy I bought this book, because it was a 6-star read. We had a 6-star read in January, which is absolutely mental. This is my favourite book of January. This follows Alara and Lorenzo, or Enzo, and basically Alara is essentially kidnapped by she's basically kidnapped from a neighbouring kingdom. I don't want to say too much, but basically she's kidnapped from a neighbouring kingdom in the first chapter, and basically she's forced for Lorenzo to train her, who is the prince of said kingdom, and there's like a whole prophecy, and it was just so good. And it's like star-crossed lovers, enemies to lovers, fated to be together, and it was so good. Like, the prophecy, the battle scenes, everything about this book was absolute perfection for me, and I need book 2 right now. Pretty sure it comes out in October. I will be pre-ordering. I absolutely love this book, and I cannot recommend it enough. My friend has since started it, and I'm so excited to hear her thoughts. And it is so good, and honestly, if you take anything from watching this video, it's to read this book, please and thank you. I just need people to talk to about it. Then I read The Frontrunner by Elsie Silver. This is another 3-star read for me. It's the 3rd book in the Gold Rush Ranch series. This book follows our vet of the first 2, Mira, and then Stefan, who is essentially a rival kind of team. Not vet team, but horse team. I don't know, but I did really enjoy it. I didn't connect to these characters as much, so that's why this one, I think my ranking of this series so far probably goes A Photo Finish, The Frontrunner, Out of the Gate. Is it Out of the Gate? What's it called? Off to the Races. But I did really enjoy this one, and I am very excited to go into the 4th and final book in the series, but also the covers are just so pretty. I loved them. And then after that, I did read Onyx Storm by Rebecca Yarros. Everyone and their mum has probably read this book in January. Let's be honest. This was a lot of people's most anticipated release. This was not my most anticipated release because I did not love Iron Flame. I'm not a massive fan of Xaden and Violet like everyone else on the planet is. But I do really enjoy the dragons, I do enjoy the plot, and I do enjoy a lot of the side characters in the book. So that's why I did want to pick this up, and this book did not disappoint. This book was a 4-star read. I really enjoyed it. I'm going to continue reading the rest of the series as it comes out. But yeah, I'm pleasantly surprised that I enjoyed this book as much as I did after my thoughts on Iron Flame when I read that. Then I read A Taste of Poison by Cassandra Odette, which is the 4th book in the Entangled with Fae series. These are interconnected essentially Disney princess retellings. The first one's Beauty and the Beast, the second one's Cinderella, the 3rd one's The Little Mermaid. This one is Snow White. So essentially we follow Astrid Snow and Torben Davenport as she is running. Essentially she runs away because her father has been killed and her stepmother is like, it's you. So she escapes and sends a huntsman after her, which is Torben, and yeah, they end up falling for each other. She ends up like convincing him that she's not the murderer and that she didn't do it, and you've got like trying to find out who did it and what. And I really enjoyed this book. This was a 4 stars. I didn't expect to enjoy it as much as I did, just because I read the other 3 books in the series like over a year and a half ago. Obviously my reading taste has changed clearly nothing because I still enjoy this one just as much, but it has changed quite a bit over the past like year and a half. So I obviously didn't know going into it how I'd feel, but I really enjoyed it. And then the last book that I read in January is Out of the Woods by Hannah Bonin Young. This was a predicted 5-star. This was my most anticipated release for January for like a long time. I read Out on a Limb by her last July, I want to say, and then I read that in under 24 hours. I then ended up buying her other 2 books, Next of Kin and Next to You. I ended up binging Next of Kin in under 24 hours as well. Next to You took me a little bit longer, but I was on holiday, but I did also binge that, and this book was no different. I binged this book in less than 24 hours. I started it yesterday and finished it yesterday. This book did so much emotional damage to me. 5 stars. It was absolutely amazing. I love following Sarah and Caleb. I really enjoyed them I really enjoyed them in Out on a Limb, and I loved also seeing Bo and Win and their little girl Gus in this book, and seeing like their marriage and them fix it, and it was so good. And honestly, I think I cried at 95% of this book, and it's not even that sad at most points, but I was crying. So take that as you will. I very much recommend this book, and it's absolutely stunning. and my copy is signed, which this is a prized possession of mine now, so this will not be going absolutely anywhere. And then that's all the books I read. I read 11 books. But let's talk about my reading journal. This is just one that I found on Amazon. I don't know where it's like what one it is. I put these lovely cute stickers that are also from Amazon on top of it, but very easy. I just have an easy 2025 spread, and then this is where we get into the fun stuff. Obviously the 15 books that I want to read in 2025. Out of these, I did end up reading 2 in January. I ended up reading Out of the Woods and Onyx Storm. These are the other ones I do want to read though. I'll see if we get to them. And then we have my bookshelf page, which I just colour in the square based on my star rating. Quite simple. Then we have my A to Z challenge. I did end up filling out 5 of these squares. And just, if a book has a title that I can put in, I'm putting it in, okay? And then we have my prompt challenge, which I ended up filling 4 of them out, and my reading tracker, which I coloured in 11 squares. Then my favourite books in 2025, we have my favourite of this month, which is obviously Heavenly Bodies, if you couldn't tell by me talking about it. Then we have my January TBR spread. So I very much failed my January TBR. I don't want to talk about it. I read 1 of the 6. Actually, technically, I DNF'd this, which meant this was also not going to be read. I read this, and I just didn't get to these, quite frankly. I just didn't get to them. But then I did do my January read spread today, which I'm absolutely obsessed with. I love how it came out, and I'm so excited just to look back at this spread and be like, oh my god, yes. And then it was only right that for my favourite book of the month, my first 6-star read that very much impacted me, obviously, did get its whole double page spread. This is one of my favourite spreads. I've got fan art, I've got the end papers from the Fairy Loot edition that I don't have. There's fan art. This is actually a page from the book that I've like printed and ripped in half that was on Pinterest of the book cover. And I absolutely love this spread. And now let's talk about my February TBR. So this is my February little spread. So I obviously did pink and everything because it's Valentine's Day month. But these are the 5 books that are on my TBR for the month. So we have The Rebel Witch by Kristen Cicerelli, which is a new release that comes out at the end of February. We have The Likelihood of You and the Fate of Us by Holly Jukes. This is a series that actually does take place before Starstruck, but you don't have to read it before. And these characters that are mentioned / in Starstruck, and I really want to get to both of these this month. We have Emily Wilde's Compendium of Lost Tales, which comes out in like 2 weeks at this point, and I'm so excited. And we have the first book in the Magnolia Park series. Out of all of these, this is the one I'm least probably going to get to, but I'm absolutely obsessed with how this spread turned out. I love how pink it is and how flowery and pink and amazing it looks, and I can't wait to end up doing another pink wrap-up spread because it's definitely going to happen. But that is my little reading journal update and my January wrap-up and my February TBR. If you really enjoyed this video, and I hope to see you in my next one.